Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in your life when silence is no longer an option, when the pain you've carried, the lessons you've learned, and the victories you've won are too valuable to keep locked inside of you. Some of you sitting here today, you've been through storms that would have broken somebody else. You've walked through fire and came out with scars that tell a story. And let me tell you something, your story is not just about you. It's about the people who need to hear it so they can rise up too. Maybe right now you feel like your voice doesn't matter. Maybe you think, who am I to stand up and speak? Who would listen to me? But let me remind you of something powerful. The person you are today is the answer to someone else's prayer. The experiences you've had, the wisdom you carry, the struggles you've survived, those are the tools that can change lives. See, when you open your mouth and share your truth, you do three things. You set yourself free, you give hope to someone else, and you create a ripple effect that goes far beyond what you can imagine. Don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait until everything is perfect. Start where you are with what you have and trust that your story is enough. I know fear whispers in your ear. Fear says, stay quiet. Don't embarrass yourself. Nobody cares. But courage shouts louder, saying, somebody is waiting on you. Somebody is depending on you. Somebody's breakthrough is on the other side of your voice. So the next time you feel that fire inside, that hunger to speak, don't bury it. Don't silence it. Stand up, speak up, and watch how your story transforms not only your life, but the lives of everyone who hears it. Because the world doesn't just need more information. The world needs transformation. And transformation comes when ordinary people, just like you, share their extraordinary stories. Your story is not just about you. Every experience you've lived through, whether it was pain, struggle, victory, or triumph, carries a message that reaches beyond your own life. Many times we think our stories are too ordinary, too messy, or too painful to matter. But what you've gone through is not wasted. It was shaping you, refining you, and preparing you to be a voice for someone who is walking the very path you once walked. What you've survived is a survival guide for somebody else. When you hold back your story, you may feel like you're protecting yourself from judgment, but in reality, you might be denying someone else the exact encouragement they need to keep going. Think about this. There's someone right now praying for a sign, for proof that they can make it through what they're facing. And without even knowing it, you could be the answer to that prayer. The pain you once thought would break you becomes the bridge that carries someone else to their next level. Your story connects. Facts can inform people, but stories move people. Stories have the power to break down walls, to pierce through doubt, and to ignite hope. When you speak your truth, people don't just hear words. They feel you. They see themselves in you. They realize they're not alone. And in that moment, your story becomes more than just words. It becomes medicine for someone's heart. You may not know their names. You may never meet them. But every time you share your journey, you send out ripples that touch lives far beyond your sight. It could be the teenager who's about to give up, the parent who feels overwhelmed, the entrepreneur who's about to quit on their dream. When they hear your voice, when they hear that you've been through it and still made it, something shifts inside of them. That shift can change the entire direction of their life. That's why you can't afford to minimize your story. You can't keep it locked up inside because you think it's not good enough. The truth is, your story carries power, not because it's perfect, but because it's real. And real stories that are raw, honest, and human, have the greatest impact. What you've lived through was never meant to stay with you alone. It was meant to be shared, to light the path for others who are searching for hope in the dark. Your scars are proof of survival. They are reminders that yes, you've been hurt. Yes, you've faced battles, but more importantly, you endured and you overcame. Too often, we look at our scars as weaknesses, as blemishes we should hide. But scars are not signs of defeat. They are signs of strength. They are evidence that life tried to break you, but you refused to stay broken. Every scar tells a story of resilience, courage, and the will to keep going when everything inside of you wanted to quit. Think about it. If you never went through struggles, if nothing ever tested you, what kind of strength would you really have? It's the battles you fought that gave you wisdom. It's the sleepless nights that gave you compassion. It's the mistakes that gave you humility. And it's the scars that gave you a story worth telling. People don't connect with perfection. They connect with the scars that show you've been in the fight and made it out stronger. When you stand up and show your scars, you give others permission to embrace their own. You let them know it's okay to have wounds. It's okay to stumble. It's okay to heal at their own pace. So many people are out there covering their scars, ashamed of their past, afraid of being judged. But when they see you stand boldly in your truth, when they see you wear your scars like badges of honor, they begin to realize that their pain doesn't have to define them. It can refine them. Your scars don't just speak to your past, they speak to your survival. They whisper to the world, I've been tested, but I made it. I've been knocked down, but I got back up. They tell people that you are not fragile, you are not finished, you are a fighter. And when someone who is barely holding on sees the strength in your scars, they find the courage to keep holding on a little longer. Your survival becomes the spark for their survival. Every scar carries a lesson. Every scar carries power. And the beautiful thing is, scars may fade, but they never fully disappear. That means your story, your strength, and your testimony will always be with you, not as chains to weigh you down, but as proof that you've already conquered so much, and you can conquer again. That's why scars are not something to hide. They are something to share. Because somewhere someone is waiting to see them, to believe that survival is possible for them too. You don't need to be perfect to make an impact. Too many people are waiting on perfection before they step into their purpose. They tell themselves, when I'm more confident, when I have more money, when I get the right training, when my life looks better, then I'll be ready. But the truth is, if you wait until everything is perfect, you'll never move. Perfection is an illusion that keeps people stuck. What creates impact is not a flawless life. It's a willing heart. People don't resonate with perfect stories. They resonate with real ones. Think about it. How many times have you listened to someone who seemed too polished, too untouchable, and you thought, that's nice for them, but I can't relate. Perfection distances you from people, but authenticity draws them in. The cracks in your story, the mistakes you've made, the struggles you faced, those are the very things that give your voice power. Impact doesn't come from showing people how perfect you are. It comes from showing them how human you are. When you decide to share your story as you are, unfinished, imperfect, still learning, you give people permission to step forward too. You become a mirror that reflects possibility, not perfection. You show them that they don't have to have it all figured out to make a difference. And that is liberating, because so many people are waiting for the right moment that may never come. But your courage to speak from your now, not your someday, inspires them to take action from where they are. The truth is, the greatest leaders, the most impactful voices, are not the ones who pretended to be flawless. They are the ones who admitted their failures, their fears, their doubts, and still chose to rise. The power of your impact lies not in being untouchable, but in being relatable. It's in saying, I'm still growing, I'm still healing. I'm still figuring it out. But here's what I've learned so far, and maybe it can help you too. That's what people connect with. That's what makes change possible. So don't hold back because you're not perfect. Don't silence yourself because you're not polished. Impact has never been about delivering the perfect speech or living the perfect life. It's about showing up with honesty, with heart, and with courage. Because people don't need another flawless example, they need a real one. And you, exactly as you are right now, have everything you need to be that example. Speaking your truth sets you free. For too long, many people live behind masks, pretending to be fine when they're not, hiding their struggles, keeping their voices quiet because they fear judgment. But silence is heavy. Carrying your story inside of you, locked away, feels like carrying a weight on your chest that never lifts. The moment you decide to speak your truth, the chains start breaking. You breathe easier. You realize that hiding wasn't protecting you. It was imprisoning you. When you finally open up, you take your power back. What once felt like a source of shame transforms into a testimony of strength. Every secret you release, every word you speak, every truth you admit becomes a step toward freedom. You are no longer controlled by fear of what others might think, because the moment you speak, you discover something powerful. Your truth can't be used against you once you've owned it. Instead of being your weakness, it becomes your strength. Your voice has the power to release years of bottled up pain. Sometimes it's not about delivering the most polished speech or finding the perfect words. It's about letting what's inside of you finally come out. And the beautiful thing is, the moment you speak your truth, you find out you're not alone. People lean in, they nod, they say, "Me too." And in that moment, connection happens, healing happens, freedom happens, not just for you, but for everyone listening. Speaking your truth doesn't just lighten your own load, it gives others the courage to do the same. Every time you stand up and say, "This is who I am, this is what I've been through, and I'm not ashamed," you give others permission to remove their masks too. They realize that vulnerability is not weakness, it's strength. And they begin to understand that freedom is not found in pretending, but in being real. That's why your truth matters. Because silence isolates, but speaking liberates. When you finally release what's been weighing you down, you not only step into your own freedom, you unlock doors for others who have been waiting for someone brave enough to go first. And in that act, you create a space where honesty can heal, where authenticity can inspire, and where truth becomes the key that sets everyone free. Fear is loud, but courage must be louder. Fear will always find a way to whisper in your ear. It says, "You're not ready. You're not good enough. What if they laugh at you? What if you fail?" Fear has a voice that echoes in the silence, trying to convince you to stay small, to shrink back, to play it safe. And the truth is, if you listen to fear long enough, it becomes convincing. But here's the thing, fear may be loud, but it doesn't have to be final. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing to move forward, even while fear is screaming at you to stop. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in life come when you step forward scared, when your voice is shaking, when your knees are trembling, but you do it anyway. Fear is designed to paralyze, but courage is designed to liberate. And the moment you let courage speak louder than fear, doors begin to open that fear tried to keep shut. Fear is fueled by what ifs. What if I fail? What if nobody listens? What if I make a mistake? But courage flips the script. Courage says, what if I succeed? What if my words change someone's life? What if this moment is exactly what I was made for? The difference between fear and courage is perspective. Fear imagines the worst. Courage imagines the best. And whichever voice you choose to amplify will determine the direction of your life. When you decide to let courage be louder, you silence the lies fear has been feeding you. You stop asking, "What if I'm not enough?" and start saying, "Even if I'm not perfect, I'm still going to try." That shift changes everything, because the truth is, fear never really goes away. It just loses its power when you stop giving it the microphone. Courage grows every time you speak up, every time you take action, every time you move despite the noise in your head. And here's the beauty: every act of courage creates momentum. The first time you face your fear, it feels impossible. But the more you do it, the stronger your courage becomes. Fear might shout, but courage learns to roar. And when courage roars inside of you, it drowns out the doubt, it silences the excuses, and it reminds you that you were not created to live small. You were created to rise, to speak, and to make an impact.